let me hit record. I'll just start off by saying this. You cannot be in a bad mindset when you write down what you're grateful for. Like, honestly, one of the things me and Dallin have really worked on in our marriage is like when we're like in a bad place, like we're just like, what are we grateful for? It's like, we're grateful that we have money that pays our bills, that we have food that we eat. Like, there's a lot of couples that don't have their own place, that don't have food to eat. So it's just like, when you get your mind in that state of mind, like, you can't be upset. You can't be sad. Like, it's actually, as I was reading all this research today, it's physically impossible to be upset or pissed or annoyed or angry or frustrated when you are in a state of gratitude. So that's my first tip to you guys. If any of you guys are struggling, you're in a funk right now, you're discouraged, which I hate that word. If you're on my team, never tell me you're discouraged. But if you feel those things, I really just want you guys to take a second and just like be grateful. I know so many times, even in this business, there will be girls that get a market partner or they'll get some VIPs. And even then they're like, oh, but I'm not at MMB yet, but I'm not at this yet. And it's like, okay, well, you just got 3 customers yesterday. Like, be grateful for that. You know, there's so much to be happy for. You got $300 on your paycheck today. That pays your groceries. Be grateful for that. So I think sometimes we're just like greedy and we just want more and more and more. And that's great. I am a driven person. I have those big goals and I want all that stuff, but I don't fail to recognize like all the gifts that God's given me that I have in my life. So that's the first thing I want to come on and say, guys, is like, really like look at how big this opportunity is and how grateful that we are that we're in a time where the skincare launched and you're on this call. You're one of the first. In 10 years, everyone's going to look at us and be like, wow, those people had it big. Like, those people got so lucky. And it's like, be grateful that we're in this time right now. Okay, so the theme of this call, though, I'm not going to call it, I know the way this call actually even came about is I was actually hearing from a lot of people, and I think as a lot of leaders, even if you're not a leader, but you will be, you will deal with this a lot. A lot of people go through emotional stress. We can call it anxiety. We can call it depression, whether you're diagnosed, you're not diagnosed. I understand. I'm not diagnosed, but I know a lot of people who are in this business. We deal with that. I think this day and age, I'll just be as blunt as possible, this generation, we use that term very lightly and we say it a lot. I mean, I have anxiety. I can't do this business, the social media part, and some of it is diagnosed, some of it's not, whatever. And as leaders, it's hard to deal with that. It's a sensitive topic. It's like, what do I say? You know, and so I really wanted to talk about this, but not more on the side of if you struggle with this, number one, that you can send this to your girls. But then number 2, like how to help them as a leader, like how do we deal with it in the correct way? And so I've been researching a lot because I do struggle with this. This is one of my weaknesses. And guys, if you have any weaknesses in this business, like, go and be resourceful, figure it out. Because this is a weakness of mine. I knew that. I wasn't good at handling these situations. Honestly, every time I handle it, it goes south. They get more pissed at me. They think I was being insensitive. I'm quitting today because you said that, right? Because I was like, you need mental toughness. And I guess that's not the right thing to say. So I realized I wasn't doing this right. So that's why I studied all of this. So I wanted to first talk to you guys about this. So a lot of you guys you're in college, you've been in college, maybe you're, in high school. I think back about my times, and emotional intelligence is just like these situations. So if any of you guys work out, how many of you guys, you go to the gym, or how many of you guys have been through college and, you've had a really hard class where you don't understand what the professor's saying. Oh, it's maxed out. Oh, I'm not on Sam's thing. I'm so sorry. I am recording though, so sorry guys. Anyways, what was I going with that? Okay, so in school, right? So I remember personally for myself, I'd have classes where I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not going to pass. Like, this is the hardest thing in my life. I don't understand what the professor's saying. I literally I cannot do this, right? And we hit that breaking point, right? You break down in college. I feel like if you've been in college, you've had a breakdown before. And it's the same thing as working out. Maybe some of you guys grew up as athletes, whatever. I personally did not. I didn't really go to the gym growing up. I would go to the gym when I started college. I was wanting to look good for the guys, whatever, right? I'd go to the gym And I would work out so hard and I'd be so sore and I would not go again for a month. Because I was like, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. Promise you guys I'm coming back around to emotional intelligence. But so I'd get to that point and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, and I wouldn't go back, right? And so what I was doing to my body was I was getting to this limit and then I was stopping. And actually, in that case, when I stopped, you digress. When you take a class and you stop because it's too hard, and you're like, you know what, whatever, I'm just gonna blow the test. Who cares? I'm gonna fail the class, right? You've now digressed. Now you go to the next class, your level of limit of of intelligence in school or your capability at the gym is actually less now, because what you just taught yourself in that situation is that got hard, so I'm gonna quit. So what I'm saying right now is emotional intelligence is the same thing. If you've been in this business for a while, you know that you've hit a point where you're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I'm going to survive this. You know, like, I legit, like, do I have to quit? Like, this is so hard. You know, you get hit with everything. Sometimes as a leader, you get all this negativity. This person said this VIP said this girl wants to quit. You know, this is sold out, so now everyone's pissed. Like, you know, you've dealt with that, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. You get to that point where you're like about to explode, right? And in that moment, you have the choice of saying, you know what, I'm done. Or you're like, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going, right? And do you know what you do in that moment is you actually expand your emotional intelligence and how far you can go. Because when a lot of times in this business, when we have girls that tell us, you know, like, yeah, like I have, you know, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with social media or whatever, right? At that point, when they say like, I'm going to quit, they're now going backward. The next time in their life, they get to a hard stage where it comes with anxiety or whatever, and they've just taught themselves their limit is actually less now, you know, because they didn't keep going. Personally, as a leader, I would get to points in this business where it was so freaking hard for me. And I look back now, I can handle so much more than I could handle 6 months ago. And it's because I kept pushing myself. I went harder and harder, and it was hard, guys. Like, I had nights where I was crying and I was like, I don't know what to do. But I kept going and I didn't quit, because that's how you grow in life. Emotional intelligence is not something that you're born with. It's something that grows with you. And as you allow yourself, just like the gym, guys, we go to the gym and you are struggling. You go there and you know you're going to be in pain. You know you're going to struggle, but that's how you're going to get bigger. That's how your body's going to get better. It's how it's going to get leaner, right? And it's painful. It's not fun. You know, walking into the gym, this is not going to be fun. This is going to cause me pain and I'm going to struggle, but the outcome is going to be amazing. I don't know why we grasp that with the gym, but we don't grasp that with anything else. With emotional intelligence, it's the same thing. You're going to struggle. There is going to be pain, and that's okay. But you're going to get bigger. Your mind, your emotional intelligence is going to get so much stronger. And that's the same thing with our girls, right? And so honestly, I had a girl the other day come to me and she wrote me this message and she said, I'm really struggling, you know, with posting or whatever. And I'm going to tell you guys how I handled this situation. And this one, I think I did a lot better than I have in the past. Cause I really thought about it. Usually to be honest, you guys, I'm on autopilot and I react versus respond. I get upset and I'm just like, boom, I say what I want to say. And then I'm like, oh crap, I should have done that totally different. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is change the way that we do that as leaders. Really take some time. If you get a text that, you know, just like pisses you off, give it a second. Think about it, sleep on it, and really come up with a good response the next day. I had a text I got a month ago and I literally wanted to lose my mind. Like I sent a mean message. I didn't send it. I wrote it out. And I showed my husband it and he was like, do not send that. And I was like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't believe she said this. And he was like, no, like, delete that right now. And I was like, okay. He's like, ask questions because you don't know the full story yet. So I asked a better question. And then I actually got the full story and I realized I was completely wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh, I thank the heavens I didn't send my original message. There would have been so much drama. I work with this girl, right? And it's like, it was not needed. And so anyways, that's my first thing is get off autopilot and actually respond to things versus react. But anyways, so I had this call, right? This girl, she comes to me, she tells me this. I get on the call with her and I just like make it an open space. I don't tell her like, oh, you need to toughen up, whatever. I'm like, honestly, like, tell me the root of this, like this stress that you're feeling. And she kind of went over it for me. And I was like, so it's more what people think about you. I was like, why do you care so much what people think about you? Where's that coming from? And I tried to really understand all of this. And one of the conclusions we came up with, and something I'm going to tell you guys tonight, is one of the biggest things that you can do with these girls or for yourself when you're feeling this is stop worrying about the outcome. Stop worrying about the rank. And I know that's very opposite of what most people will tell you in this business, but focus on what you can give. Focus on just adding value. If posting drives you crazy and you're like, I hate posting, it's so hard, like people are going to judge me, I want you to just think, how can I help people today? How can I add value to somebody's life today? How can I serve people around me, right? This business, these products, they really do serve people. The messages I get from my clients seriously touch my heart of like how happy they are. I got this long message the other day about this girl who struggled with her curly hair for 20 years and she finally found something, and she said like she was actually crying because it was the first time she loved her hair. And I literally was like, that, honestly, if I can serve people in that way, like there's no stress there. Just focus on what you are out, like what you're putting out there, you know, like, did you do the work? Like, did you post? Did you add value to people's life? Forget about the sales, forget about the market partners, just add value to people's life. And when you do that, you won't have the stress. Like the anxiety will be gone because all you're focusing on is giving, is adding value. So we talked with this girl, and I went over that and she's like, oh my gosh, yes. Like that makes it so much easier. I was so focused on hitting this rank and I said, she's like, I have to do this. And I was like, who told you had to do all that? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I kind of thought you had to do that. And I was like, it's your business. Yes, you want to work it like a business, but as long as you're giving value to people, that's all you need to do. I was like, do you feel like you're serving people? Do you feel like by helping people with their hair and helping people with their income, helping a mom stay home, that gives you, peace? And she's like, yes, that does. And I was like, just focus on that, focus on giving. And that really changed her whole mindset from like sales and like people, like her posting and people's thoughts to her of like, I'm just going to add value to as many people as I can today. So next thing I want to talk about with you guys tonight is, when you guys get in these situations is I want you to ask yourself, is this the beginning or is this the end? Because if it's the beginning, then like there is good to come, and I want you guys to lead with vision. Yes, temporarily this situation sucks, but when you lead with a bigger vision of like, personally, just to give you guys an example, it's like, yes, I had one of my big girls that was about to hit MMB quit on me. Right? She was done with the business. And in that moment, I was so upset. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, there it goes. Like, I'm never going to hit anything now. Like, I'm screwed, like, whatever. And then when I started thinking about the bigger picture, and I was like, you know what? Like, she's going to fade away, but I'm going to find somebody else. And I started thinking like, okay, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, I'll be a director with somebody else, by my side. And that's okay. And so I want you guys to stop thinking so short term. My husband met with he's the like number 1 realtor in Utah. He's a big deal here in Utah. His name's Jimmy Rex. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. If you have, shout him out. But he's a really, really big deal in Utah. And one of the things, you know him, Lexi. So anyways, it was an honor that he was able to go to lunch with Dallin. And when they went to lunch, this guy who's a multi-millionaire, he told Dallin, he was like, one of the biggest things I can tell you right now is the reason why I'm successful is everybody else thinks short term and I think long term. I think 5 years, I think 10 years. I don't think tomorrow, I don't think next month. And I think sometimes this pressure, this anxiety, this depression, this stress, it comes because we're thinking so little and not on a bigger scale. And that's when I think things are going to change for you. And then what was some of the other things I wanted to talk about with you guys? Another thing too that Justin Prince says that I love, some of my leaders have watched his video. He has an emotional intelligence video that I love. But he talks about like a roller coaster, right? Like good things are going to happen, bad things are going to happen. And people who are emotionally stable are going to stay in this zone through the good and the bad. People who go through this and this are not emotionally stable. They are actually like, they get a customer, right? They join you, they get a customer like, yes, I'm pumped. This is amazing. I love this business. And then the next day they get a know, and they're like, screw this, I quit, this sucks, I'm done. Those people are not emotionally stable. They're not. And leaders who someone quits on them and they're like, you know what, this isn't working for me, whatever. Or they have a girl hit a new rank and they're like, this is the best business ever, I'm killing it, whatever. Like I have girls all the time where it's literally like, is today a good day or a bad day for her? Because I have no idea, right? And it's like, for me, like I try and be a constant person. Yes, bad things happen, but I'm like a problem solver. I don't sit in the negative, you know, and my negative does not go to everybody. My negative stays, it's like a marriage, right? Your negative should be between you and your spouse. We handle it. I don't go to my mom, my dad, my friends. Now everybody knows, because you know what happens when you tell your mom? She's mad at your spouse for 6 weeks and you're over it that night, because that's just how things go, right? So it's like that negativity, like it should go out and up to like one upline for some help, you know, but it should never go to everybody. And so I really want you guys to really focus on being more constant and thinking more long-term. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint, instead of such a short-term thing. And when you do that, your mind, I just want to stress to you guys how important it is to like work out your mind. Like crap is going to happen. And I know now sometimes you guys are going to be on this call and you're going to be like, yeah, I can handle it. Like I'll handle when something bad happens. But then it actually like hits you and you like don't hit your rank, you know, and you're like, my life like really does suck. Like, you know, like it really hurts, guys. Like I know I've felt that. I've been at the same rank for 10 months. It sucks, you know? And it's like, but I will tell you this, is I've stayed constant throughout this whole thing. And this month, it's literally like my team is blown up. It's like all the fruit, I mean, all the hard work that I put in the past 10 months, I'm like seeing it all like come to life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like thank goodness I didn't quit on those sucky days, because I'm seeing it now. I saw the long-term vision where those people who quit on me saw what happened that day. They saw what happened that month. And I'm seeing what's happening in the next 5 years. It's like my mind is not on a small scale. It's on a way bigger scale. So when your girls are struggling with this, I want you guys to ask them these bigger questions. Don't tell them what to do. I think that was the biggest mistake I made as a leader, is I'd be like, you need to post more. You need to do this. You need to listen to personal development. And that's great. Those are great tips. But instead, now I ask the questions. I'm like, do you feel like you've been giving it all you've got? You know, what do you really want out of this? Like, you know, and then do you feel like your actions like match up with what, you know, like do your actions match up to what you're telling me you want? Like I make them come up with the conclusion. That's what good leaders do. Your person should figure out what they're doing wrong, not you telling them what's going wrong. Same thing when they're struggling with, you know, like they're stressed because of social media. A lot of our new girls, you know, that's one of the first excuses they give you is posting, and they're scared of it. And it's like, get to the root. Like, why does posting really scare them? Like, what is it? What is the real fear behind that? And then let's address it. Let's find a solution to this problem. Let's respond to it versus react to it. Justin Prince uses the equation E plus R equals O. It's events plus responses equals outcome. It's not events equals outcome. We've all met people that are like, well, this happened to me when I was a kid and my parents did this, so that's why I'm like this, and that's why I don't blah, blah, blah. Like, that's why I'm not rich, is because my parents, you know, we all know those people that they are like, whatever event happened to them, they're just whatever that happened, right? And it's like, that's not it. That's not the equation. It's not E equals O. It's E plus R equals O. It's events plus responses equals outcome. It's what was your response to that situation? You know, like I didn't have a great upbringing, but my response, I hear kids that had the same problems I did as a kid, and I see them way messed up, and I'm like, listen, you are not what you like your upbringing was or what happened to you. Like you are how you responded to that situation. And that's one of the biggest things. So press pause. So one of the other things he talked about, he goes through 6 different steps. One of them is press pause, give yourself time to think, get off autopilot. And then number 2, get your mind right. Whatever you're telling yourself is what's going to become your reality. And we talk about that a lot. And then one of the things that's really helped me and helped my girls is having a routine. I think sometimes they're all over the place and they're trying to post, and they have kids or they have work, you know, and it's like one of the biggest things that baffles me actually is these girls or whatever. It's like, I don't have time, or this is stressful. And I don't know. I feel like if they could time manage, it would be way different. It's like what cracks of your day. And I know, I think it was a Darcy and Cam who did a video on balancing time, but it was amazing. But I think that is so necessary with people. It's like when I don't have a routine, I lose my mind. Like I literally start freaking out. But when I'm like, okay, from 9 to 10, I'm creating content. From 10 to 11, I'm checking with my team. From 12 to 1, me and my husband are going to lunch. I'm putting my phone down. We're going to have us time. From 1 to 2, I'm doing this, like, and some people aren't routine people, and that's fine. But if you do stress, like if you do have these problems with stress, really try to have like a routine in your day. I feel like it changes everything for you. Also, something Justin Prince said, I loved it. He said, eliminate meltdowns completely. We all know those people that like, I even had, family members like this, but when something would happen, they'd freak out like, what the F, blah, 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 whatever, right? We know those people. And then they're like, I'm so sorry. I can't, I'm like, no. You just eliminate that. That is part of emotional intelligence. That meltdown should not happen. You should never send in your group or to your upline, I can't believe blah, 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 and you like freak out. That should never happen if you're an emotionally intelligent person. You should never go and post on, we know those people that post on Facebook when they get upset about some whatever thing that happened, right? And Justin Prince talks about how too, like when something happens to you, it goes like, you have to give it time to go through your cells and up to the frontal lobe of your brain. And that's when you have time to actually respond to a situation. So a lot of times as it's going through, that's when we respond before it gets to the brain where you can actually think about your response. And I love that he said that. So eliminate meltdowns completely. Let's start being a lot more emotionally mature with things, and really get to the root of your fear. Ask yourself, is this the beginning or the end? And what's the other thing? Oh, also, you can't give what you don't have. If you don't have emotional intelligence as a leader, you cannot give that to your team. You cannot give something that you don't have. So that's the first thing in this business. If you're new, you should learn this for yourself. There's going to be crap that hits the fan in this business, in life, in marriage, as a parent. Like, I love that Greta said the other day, like, you don't just toss your kid away because like life's getting hard with them, or your husband, you're not like, okay, we had a crappy day together and you pissed me off, so I'm like done with you today and like let's divorce. Like that's not what should ever happen, right? It's the same thing with this business. You don't have a crappy day in your business and say I quit. Like that should never even be like an option. We should have that, that commitment level, it should be way higher than one bad thing and now we're done. One person quitting shouldn't be your fate of if you hit director in this company or not, if you hit MM in this company or not. Like your person quit, so now you can't hit MM, and so like you're done. Like that one person decides your fate. That is so sad. It's like when I think about that, it's like you don't control whether I hit my goals or not, right? And I tell my girls too, it's like, yeah, I have VIPs, like maybe one's upset, but I had 20 that were happy. And it's like Nordstrom, amazing. And they get returns. It's like, it's just business. There's good, there's bad, there's people like, and it's like, that's not a representation that Nordstrom sucks. It's the same thing. Really quick, I wanted to talk about what it takes. I talked about on the like summary of this call, I said what it takes to succeed. I'll just really quickly hit on this. We've talked about this before. Burn the ships, be fully committed. If you are not fully committed, you're going nowhere in this business. I know so many people, they're like waiting for like them not to get a market partner to quit. Like they're waiting for what I tell them to not work to say see ya. And it's like, that shouldn't even be like a scenario in your head. It should be like, I will find a way to make this work. And then also like I said earlier, it's like, I've had a lot of patients a lot of people have in their business. It's like, I'm 11 months in at the same rank, guys, and it's been hard, right? It's like hard seeing people rank up. It sucks. You're jealous. You're like watching them and you're like, oh my gosh, like, am I ever going to get there? But it's like, I promise you, I said to Dallin the other day, because I was like, oh my gosh, like my team's on fire. Like literally, I don't know if you guys are feeling this momentum, but like our like GV, DV, PV is just insane. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like all that work I put in for the past 11 months are just coming together. And I'm so grateful I didn't give up, And it was like a really like surreal moment. And I was like, all those people that gave up it's like they're not getting the fruits of their labor. And Ed Milet did a podcast, and he talked about like the piñata, and anyways, small analogy, but he talked about how like kids will go to a piñata and they'll hit, and then the next person will hit, and the next person will hit, and then the first couple kids will go play something else because no candy is coming out, it's getting boring, whatever, they're going to quit. And then the people that keep going are going to get all the candy. It's like that's what this business is for us. It's like if you keep going, it is like 100% you will get the candy. You will succeed at this. It's just like he talked about the most important trait that every leader has is the power to not quit. That is literally, if you guys all on this call not quitting, I applaud you, because a lot of people do not have that. And that is the number one skill. That resiliency is the number one skill you can have in this business. And all the people that have been successful on my team, on other teams, are the ones that are like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to be emotionally stable, emotionally intelligent. I'm going to push myself harder because I want my brain to get stronger. I want my emotional intelligence to get stronger. And then they see the long-term vision. And then just as like in this business, what it takes to be at the top is like, it's working harder than everybody else. To be honest with you guys, like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like what other leaders doing this? Or like my girl's not doing this and I'm driving all the way over here to go visit this girl, or I'm sending this to my VIP. I don't know. Like sometimes I'll to realize it's like if I want to be at the top, I have to do what everybody else won't. It's like Tim Tebow said at the Monations, you know, it's like you have to train when nobody else is training. And that's what I think about in this business. Like there's times where I'm like, well, they're watching Netflix, you know, they're blah, blah, blah. They're, you know, they didn't post today, you know, and it's like Frozen. I'm confused.
You're good now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, it's Frozen. Okay. But yeah, it's like, I've just realized, like, honestly, guys, I'm not the most creative person in this business. I'm not good at posts. I'm terrible at captions. You guys should see how many times I rewrite captions. I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at editing pictures. Like that is not my strong suit, but my strong suit is I am the hardest worker in the room. Like I am working until 2 a.m. I'm up early. I'm like, what team call can I do? What does my team need? It's like, and I honestly attribute my success to that. It's like other people may have better talents. They have more followers. They're cooler than me. They have a bigger network, but I promise you they can't outwork me. And I really think for you guys, if you want to get to the top, that's what it takes. It takes being the hardest worker in the room. Last thing I'll say, I said on a little bit that I would talk about VIPs and market partners. I'll make this super quick. Just a little tip that's been helping me lately is I have been sent, and I got this from Sam, but I've been sending them like a video of the cart, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, so I put these different things in your cart. This is the discount for it. You know, like if we did the skincare and the oil, you'd get this, this, and this. And it has been working so well when they can visually see it. If you have customers, guys, that you do all of their login stuff, I really would change that. Not because you're lazy, but because when my customers, I can tell you guys, like 100% of my customers that actually have access to their account and like move their flagships and do all this stuff order way more than the ones that I do everything for, because they see it. You know, when you guys are online and you're looking at a store at, you know, and then you look at the swimsuits and then you look at the shoes, you know, that's exactly how they are with our website. Oh, there's a skincare. Oh, there's Christmas bundles. What are they? You know? And so really give that access to them. Your sales are going to go way up. And then MPs, the biggest thing I can tell you is confidence. The number one thing I can tell you is confidence. Honestly, I think that matters more than product knowledge. I think it matters more than the compensation plan knowledge. All those stuff is important, but if you can have all that knowledge, but if you're not confident in what you're talking about, it's like when I hear someone on the phone, like I know me personally, I joined, just to give you guys like a background on me. I joined this business because I watched a potential call of AJ and Sam. That's what I joined because of that potential call. And it was because of their confidence. It actually was not the girl I was on the phone with. Her confidence was terrible. I was literally like, I don't know. I honestly told her no. I was like, no. And it wasn't because I didn't want to do the business. It was actually because I didn't trust her. I was like, you don't sound like you know what you're doing. But then I listened to Sam and AJ and I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, like I got to do this, you know? And so really work on your confidence. Maybe role play. I've been doing that with a lot of my girls. I ask them the objections and I see how they get over it. And if they're like stutter and they're like, I don't know, like, I'm like, we need to work on this. Like if I was on a real phone call, those are real questions you're going to get asked. You know, like, what is it that you do? And if you like give me the most confusing answer, or it's a lot to explain, and like, you've already like, I'm clocked out, I'm done, I'm out. So I really want you guys to like write down different objections you get, practice with your upline, practice with, a sideline, and then solve problems. That's the biggest thing, is like, we're not here to just like billboard like, wow, this is what we are. It's like, we're here to help people. And so the more value you can add, the more problem solving you can do. Like, really think day to day, what do your friends complain to you about? What did you complain about before this business? And like, those are the problems that you want to solve. That potential video that Sam and Caitlin did is amazing, guys. Like, utilize that as much as you can. I'm now 3 for 3 on market partners with that video. So it is crushing it. Like, I'm not kidding. That's the #1 video I would tell you guys to send. And honestly, it's been working more than a phone call. I'm usually the leader that will tell you phone call, phone call, phone call. But lately I've been, when they ask me for info, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to send you over this potential video, and then let me know by tonight. I let them know they have to let me know by tonight. Let me know by tonight. Yeah, so let me know by tonight what your thoughts are. And like, literally, like, they've like messaged me back. They're like, yeah, like, I watched it, I'm in. I'm like, perfect. And then I'm like, do you have any questions? They're like, yeah, I just have one. I'm on the phone. It's like a 3-minute phone call. They're signed up. So it's so much faster and easier, and takes time off of your plate so that you can work your business and help your team. So anyways, I hope that was helpful tonight. I really want you guys to work on this. The biggest thing I wanted you to get out of this is emotional intelligence and staying constant. Don't be the leader that's a roller coaster of negativity and then positivity, good day, bad day. Like, stay constant for your team. When you have girls that are dealing with this stuff, maybe you need to call them and just like let them a little bit vent to you. But more than anything, ask them the questions. I'm not saying don't be insensitive. I'm not saying blunt. I'm not saying be too sensitive or blunt, either way. I'm just saying have them come up with the conclusion. And I'm not saying spend an hour on the phone with them. We don't have time for that. We're not people's counselors or therapists. I don't do that. But what I do is I really do like have a sincere conversation with them. I get to the root of the fear, and then I address it. Because what they want you to do, or because guys, I will not say I'm a doctor or anything, but anxiety or depression or whatever that I've like, if I ever have that stuff, what I've realized it's an emotional thing. It's not a rational thing. It's an emotional thing. And so when you get to the logic of it, of like, why is this so scary for me? Or like, why is posting so like, what is the root of it? And you realize it's not that big of a deal. And like, what I'm scared of really isn't that big of a deal. That's when you can get over it with people. So anyways, as a leader, just really try and respond versus react. Have these open conversations. Don't tell people. Ask better questions. Ask more open-ended questions. And you're going to get a lot better of a result. And really, I always use the method, feel, felt, found. I feel you. I relate to people. I felt this. But what I found is that I was being scared over something that really was, I was making it a bigger deal in my head. I was focusing more on the outcome than just on me giving. And like, I'm going to give it my all. And whatever comes of it, great. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to post. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to be a friend. I'm going to share something that works. And don't focus on I have to do this, or I have to hit this rank or this outcome, because that's where that stress comes in. And just focus on what can I give. So thanks for coming on.
So, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
So Haley actually posted something on her Instagram before, and I don't know, but it like changed my life. I don't know if she knows that, but she put a quote, and it says, depression is fear of the past and anxiety is fear of the future. So if something hasn't happened yet and you're worried about it, that's anxiety, guys. So try to stay in the present, right? Like she was talking about. And if it hasn't happened yet, don't stress yourself over it. Okay. So when you're going through these feelings and you're worried about all this stuff, you can just ask yourself, is this happening right now? Is this happening to me right now where I can deal with it? I can have action steps to actually deal with it. And that has truly changed my life. Like, yeah, we all struggle with anxiety, guys. We're all human. But like when you lay down at night and you're worried about all these bills that you don't actually have yet, what's the point? You're literally doing it to yourself. Okay. I'm not a doctor either, but I have really practiced that, and it's really helped me stay grounded and in the now. So I recommend thinking of that too next time you have an issue.
Yeah. I love that. We'll end with that. I love that quote. So hope everyone has a good night. Let's kill this sell. Let's kill this month. It is literally on fire. That was just a little tidbit to help anybody and their team. But seriously, like this month's been insane. So there's going to be some awesome things to look forward to. I love you guys and thanks for hopping on.
Thank you.